Hello, beautiful people and fellow winers, and welcome to another episode of A Little Something to Wine About with your host, Siobhan Camille,
and A. Michelle,
where we wine while we wine and sips get real as we discuss life, relationships, business culture, and so much more. Every Wednesday. Yeah, y'all know. It's third Wednesday, and so it is Wine with the Guys, and of course, we brought back Mr. Carl Gray. He is no stranger to the podcast. He has been here. And we, in honor, again, it is Black August, celebrating Black entrepreneurship. We are talking about Black men in business. If you missed it, go check out our Sis Let's Wine, Black Girl Business Magic, when we talked with the ladies of Shoe Crazy. It's above. There you go. And this is complimentary to that from the guy side. So we decided we we're going to now have one from the guy side. So, yes, Michelle is indicating her bottle because we are still celebrating that brand all month.
All month, y'all. It wasn't on purpose, but
it's
happening. It's happening. Hey, y'all. Hope y'all having a productive week. I hope someone today has told you that you are beautiful, handsome, sexy, gorgeous, prosperous. You look successful. You know what I'm saying? Like you flossing out here this week. Okay. I'm just saying that because I got two. So I'm a little happy. I sit up a little bit just today. But for real, I hope y'all having a great week. Y'all know Poppin Grape Experience with Shoe Crazy Wines. Look, if you watched the last week's episode, I was a little teed off because they were sold out at all like 5 stores that I went to, which is a good problem to have. But not for me because I wanted to taste it. So I went and I was able to find it, and it just my luck. The Lord was like, I'm going to bless you today. Yes, all that. And here's your bottle because it was only 2 left. So even in that, it was like, oh my God, it doesn't stay on the shelf, clearly. So I am excited to taste this because I didn't get to taste it last week. Duh. So shout out to the ladies of Shoe Crazy Wines. And so yeah, that's my Poppin Grape experience today. I'm about to y'all know I don't have good luck with these type of
what is it?
Oh, it's their sweet peach mango delight
Okay.
Harvey. Okay. Let's see how it goes. Yay. Because these type of tops from with me, they be going like
y'all got to save that on your sound joints. That was a good sound. That was a good pop right there.
That was a good pop.
That was a quality pop.
That was a quality cork. Okay, I'm gonna do a generous pour. I'm not gonna overpour.
Yeah, so I have a wine over here, y'all, but I could not listen. Shoe Crazy is hard to find, as we've established. And given where I live and the time commitment and crunch that I was on, I could not get one. I will just say that I am drinking a Chardonnay and leave it there. I will shout out the brands at another time. I won't be popping grapes when I do this, but it's not appropriate for the Black August. It's not even American, y'all. It's Argentinian. I'm just
they might be brownish.
And I don't know if they would claim them African roots either. I really couldn't. And this is the thing about the brand, though. I could not find who the owner was or anything about this, except the fact that it's Argentinian. Like, they don't have a website, at least not one that I could find. So there you go. Now, I'm going to say that why I bought this was because there's an elephant on the bottle, and that's my favorite animal. So I was pressed when I saw the bottle. I'm not gonna lie. So I guess I'm still kind of sticking with Africa because I don't know.
Because of the elephant.
Because of the elephant. And I realize that there are African and Indian elephants, and quite frankly, given the layout of this thing, it's probably an Indian elephant, but it looks too big to be an Indian elephant. Like, it looks like it's the size of an African elephant. We're just gonna say it's African just so we can stick with it, okay?
Okay. Look, we don't have fine. Well, we can't fact check, so whatever you say,
Everything
we'll go by.
on the bottle, and so it's honorary for this episode because that's what I could find, but it's from Argentina, so it's just leave there.
There you go. Some of the brown folks. So, so y'all know this episode or this month we're honoring Black entrepreneurs. As entrepreneurs of this considered podcast and some other things, we have dibble dabbled in. We decided to come on, friend. Y'all know our friend Carl. He has done our photos.
Yeah.
Our photographer. Y'all seen the vlog? You can check that out. I'll link that above as well. Where you hear him in the background. He came and waved like 5 times during the vlog.
I did.
You know what I'm saying? Like
my palm juice. Yeah, my palm juice.
He was a little ashy in the vlog, all that. If you haven't seen it, click the link above. You'll get a couple laughs. Guaranteed. So, Carl, before we get into this, tell us what you've been up to, homie.
Ooh, the busiest time of my life, I will say that. So, starting last year, as you know, I have my own cybersecurity consulting business, where I teach people how to protect themselves online. I perform cybersecurity assessments. I'm an ethical hacker. And so I've begun to teach ethical hacking as well. So primarily young people. I've been teaching them. And, I still have my photography business, my management consulting business. But one thing that I decided this year to do was to help people start and grow their own businesses. So, this year, my goal is to help 500 entrepreneurs start, launch, grow, or scale their businesses. So that's what Launch with Carl is right behind. So I've been helping people launch their businesses all year. This summer, I kind of took a break from it because I decided to do a summer camp for young people. So it was called the Cyber Business Camp. And so I taught 3 weeks, 36 hours where I taught ethical hacking, teaching high school students how to become ethical hackers. And now I'm in the 3rd week of my entrepreneur camp where I'm actually helping young people to write thorough business plans. What inspired it was I was asked to be a judge for a UPS. They had a business plan contest, and I noticed, it's high school students. I'm like, wait, they ain't do this, they ain't do that, they do this. So I like, all right, well, I'll just start my own. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm amazed by these children. Okay, the stuff that they're doing, like in their business plans, it's crazy ridiculous.
Well, that's good though, because even I took entrepreneurship 1 and 2 in high school. I took accounting 1 and 2 in
At Parkdale?
Yes.
They had it at Parkdale?
Yes.
You know what Parkdale, right?
You didn't take the right classes then. How about that?
I had no idea we had an entrepreneurship class.
We had entrepreneurship 1 and 2. In fact, the entrepreneurship 2 book was the book they used in Entrepreneurship 101 at PG Community College.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have went to class. Well, I skipped a lot, so
Well, there we have. Then there's that. But
anyway, but you turned all right and got your own businesses. So
it worked out for you.
It worked out for you.
But what I was saying was, even with me taking those classes, and I took Entrepreneurship 101 in college, for a lot of us, writing the business plan, like writing that vision and quote unquote making it plain. Writing a business plan is not making it plain. Let's be serious. But there's a lot that goes into it. That was something that a lot of people struggled with, trying to get their vision down where it made sense enough for anyone who would potentially invest in that in any way, shape, or form was a task. And even with me taking 3 of those classes, I never really thought that my business plan was what it was supposed to have been. So to hear that to hear that you have started that type of class is heartwarming for someone like me. I have a lot of entrepreneurs in my family. So coming from a family entrepreneurship, they didn't have business plans. They just kind of, especially back in the day, jumped out there, word of mouth, like they networked that way. So to say, no, if my thought process was, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go to class and I'm going to get good degrees and certifications. And it was like, what the heck am I doing at the same time? So to have someone to go, no, let me hey, offer this information to you to give you a step ahead, and to guide you in the right direction. To me, it holds a special place in my heart. It's like, oh, I wish there was someone who did that for us when we were growing up, and not just, here's the class, you got it, go for it. And you're like,
Yeah, that's very true. And that's one of the reasons that I did it, because I really didn't start down this path till like my mid to late 20s, and I'm 40 now, and that's like 15 years, and I've done pretty well. But when I look back at when I started and what I did, I recognize, okay, so much of that I could have done at a younger age, when I didn't have the hindsight bias, or that that thing where the realism that adults had, that though that something might fail, that children just don't have yet, because life comes easy to them. But I feel that if you started there, then the things that are impossible, they're the ones who are able to achieve it. And like you said, we oftentimes, what I've noticed in these classes, unfortunately, they're full of people teaching them who have never done it. And so the fact that I have launched 4 businesses, I've done consulting for Fortune 500 companies, some of the largest city governments in our nation, things like that, taking that and saying, okay, how do we boil this down to a way that is easily utilized by anybody? And I told my students, I said, look, I don't know how to teach children. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a real teacher. So what I want you to know is, I don't know how to teach children. So I'm going to teach you the same way that I teach my clients when it's time for them to write a business plan. It's like, this is what I teach them. And I'm a little nicer to the students, but as far as the material goes, it's like, no, this is what is necessary to get it done. And what I found is that they grasp it so easily. They actually grasp it because it's real and it's something that's been done. And most of the time, entrepreneurs, even at that young age, or no matter what the age is, they're starting a business is something that they like or that they're passionate about. So the understanding comes a lot easier. If you're trying to teach me trigonometry, it's going to be a little bit harder because there's zero interest in it for me, for people. But if you're trying to teach concepts of business, and the example that you use is the business that they have, they're going to grasp it. And that doesn't matter what age a person is.
Right. And it's also a matter of, what I learned a long time ago was teaching people, when it comes to teaching children or younger people, or just people anyway. And I say this as someone who's teaching children right now, who has taught children, who has taught a bunch of children in school settings, out of school settings. What I've learned, without a degree, I don't have a degree in teaching. What I've learned about it is, it's passion on both sides. Because if I don't, the problem that we have, I feel like in a lot of ways, at least in this country, I would say, is that there's this push that you have to get a teaching degree to teach. Not necessarily. No, you don't. You have to have an interest in giving that knowledge to someone else, right? Like, you don't have a teaching degree, you still teach your kids without a teaching degree. I hope you're evolved enough to do that. You've taught yourself something. I mean, even if it was how to balance your checkbook and make sure that all your bills are paid on time, because if
it was how to do your makeup, you taught yourself.
Because if we're very frank, especially about stuff like business stuff or even household things, we're no longer taught. I will say we were not taught in school how to balance the checkbook. Home economics, they were getting rid of quick up in the 90s. Okay, so a lot of that stuff.
My name on a pillow.
So a lot of that stuff we had to teach ourselves. So the thing comes down to interest. And as far as like age is concerned, so that's to your point of, if a child is interested, or if a person is interested and you're speaking to them about what they're passionate about, they will learn it. Even if they hate graphics and economics and they can't stand the flow chart, they're gonna learn, because if you tell them, well, if you don't learn this, your business for, I'm gonna pay attention, because it's applicable to what they have going on. And as far as age, I think we get too caught up in the ageism of, at 9, you have to learn this. At 4th grade, you learn this. At 6th grade, you learn this. And as someone who has spent most of my life reading and doing math at a higher level than I was supposed to, and been considered gifted, although in my house, that was just basic.
Right.
It's a matter of, if you teach it, they'll learn. I have an autistic child in my house who can do math out the wazoo. If you sit and tell him, it's a matter of how to figure out how to tell him. But if you tell him, he will grasp the concept. And I know, and I just say that because I definitely have seen it in my life of, I had a teacher who, like to Michelle's point about the economic book that she had in high school, that was actually a college book. My 8th grade teacher was giving us, my 7th grade was giving us high school stuff. 8th grade was giving us freshman level college stuff. We didn't know that. We didn't know until the end of the year. And he literally said at the end of the year, he came in with the books he got our whole curriculum from. And when they said university on them, we were like, what? And he was like, I've been giving y'all freshman level college stuff all year. And y'all are 8th graders. But I didn't tell you at this beginning because you would have psyched yourself out.
You would have psyched yourself out. And I think, speaking to that, entrepreneurship is a psyche game as well. Yeah. It takes a certain mindset. It takes a certain, it's easy, like you said, it's easy to do when passion is involved. But what do you do when passion dies? What do you do when you feel defeated? What do you do when, I don't understand the statistics of this growth of the business. How do I continue on? Because it can get so frustrating where you don't want to quit, but you don't want to deal with it. So at that point, it's a matter of what is that pivot to turn it around to make it make sense and for you to grasp it and understand that, okay, this part of business I don't like. Say this podcast. I don't like reaching out to people. I hate networking. My sister does not like talking to people. However, this young lady can type up the most professional email I have ever seen in my life, and I'm over there going, yes, because I can't. Now I can't. I don't wanna. This is stupid. Like I don't want to talk to you. Look, you know what we about. Just say yes.
So to that point though, but that's my question to you, I guess, Carl. You've started for businesses, right? You've worked with governments and Fortune 500. How do you pitch yourself? Because I think that's I will say for me, that's not my thing. Like even when people ask me, what's your podcast about? I've gotten better over the course of a year.
Oh, I can tell you though. See,
but initially it wasn't good. It was like, we and again, we were still trying to figure out this thing.
Figure it out, yeah.
But it was
but when she can do the written stuff, if you get me face to face, I can talk to you. I can talk to you. I can tell you about it. I can tell you, oh, this is what we're doing. And again, you can look this up and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I can talk to you.
I'll write it down for you. I'll send you a memo about what we do.
But I think that's why we work well together. But you can go ahead and answer the question.
So this is very, y'all have said a lot of stuff I wanted to touch on, but when y'all get to go, I just be quiet. But I'll start. Right. I was like this. Hey, I'm here. I like enjoy it. It's like when I listen to the joint. I'm like, I'm listening to the podcast again. But but two things. First, when it comes to pitching yourself, and this is for most businesses, I look at you always supposed to pitch that you are providing a solution. So it's not necessarily people don't really care what you do. It's basically what you do for them. It's the problem that you solve, and what you're doing. Like if people hear what you say, even when you say what you do from the standpoint of what is it fixing in my life or what is it helping in my life? Even if you say, I have a podcast, the first thing they're going to think about is where they listen to podcasts and will you provide them entertainment or information during that time? That's where their mind automatically goes. When I say I'm a business consultant, their mind doesn't go to, oh, Carl does this, this, and this. What it goes to is, Carl, can Carl help me do X, Y, and Z for my business? Like all of that type of stuff. So, and one of the things that I teach in my courses is that elevator pitch, being able to give somebody the ability to understand what exactly it is that you do and how you do it for them and who you do it for. And though the elevator pitch should not be more than a minute, it can actually take days to figure out because of all the things you have to figure out: the who, the why, the what's, the who fors, the why fors, all of that type of stuff, so that you can answer those questions, because people really don't care about you for more than 15 seconds. You have to keep giving them reasons to care about you, like continuously give them a reason to care about you. They don't love you just because they love you. That's just not even
Instagram.
You know what I'm saying? Like you got to keep giving the person that you love a reason to love you. It's crazy. So that's the biggest part of it. And even as you were speaking about earlier about how there's so many parts of the business. It's like, yeah, I love this part, but I hate that part. You know, one of the phrases that I hate is when people say, if you find something you love, you'll never work again a day in your life. That is the most bull crappiest crap that I've ever heard in my life. That is not the truth at all.
It's not gonna work.
That's a full lie. That is a full lie, because I love dancing. God knows I do.
Right.
But when you get involved in anything that's more than just you, or even if it's just you, because coming up with a solo is work. I don't care what nobody say.
No.
Okay. It's not just a freestyle, you know?
Right.
So especially when you want it to turn out right. But anyway, I love it to the core of me, to the point where I could do it in my sleep. But it's still a lot of work involved. It's still taking care of yourself. It's still stretching. It's still keeping.
You're not gonna love every aspect of it.
You're not gonna love every aspect of your business.
No.
You're not.
The love comes from the side. You have to love the business, but you don't love every part of it. It's like, for me, there are certain things I don't like about business. I rarely tell people what those parts are, because I don't know want them to know. I don't want to know. Later, so it's a part of my secret sauce, because there's a way to even, whether you outsource it, whether you decide that you're going to build on it, you make those decisions. Like, one of the things that we teach, because I'm actually getting ready to start a 15-week mastermind for people who want to grow their businesses, where, one of the things that we're going to show is find out every aspect of your business and find out which parts are the things that you do best. People call it the zone of genius. It's not a secret term. It's operating in a zone of genius, where we show people how to do that. And even if you're not there now, have a vision and a plan to get there, because people often talk about work-life balance when it comes to business. If it's about achieving work-life balance, if you're starting a business, if you want to be successful, you won't start off balanced. It's impossible unless somebody hands you a successful business and the plan to run it that is infallible and futuristic, when they already know what the future is. So you don't have to do it. But achieving work-life balance is one of those things people talk about, but they're very unrealistic about. Like, no, I've had clients who are like, well, I got to do this, I got to do that. I'm like, well, you're not ready to start a business right now. And I'm quick to tell somebody that, like, keep it as a hobby. It's no problem. Enjoy yourself, do it on the side, but don't think you're going to grow if you're not willing to achieve work-life balance. And a part of that achievement is the accomplishments that you make as an entrepreneur to get to that point.
Yeah, I feel like entrepreneurship, a lot of people forget about the sacrifice that comes into it. Which is why they say when starting a business is, consider your spouses, consider your children, consider X, Y, and Z, because those things, I'm a true believer in when you're succeeding in one thing, something else is not necessarily failing, it's just lacking. So when starting a business and your focus is there, something else is lacking. And a lot of times it's family. It might be family time. It might be, a birthday party, something like that. So starting a business is a true literal vision of sacrifice.
Starting a business, any business becomes your child. People say that, and I think people who have kids get offended, that have never started a business get offended. People just get offended about everything nowadays anyway, but it's really true. You're taking this thing from nothing to grow it. And it's not going to grow on its own. Like, a child is going to grow on their own. Now, it's up to you to rear them and raise them and direct them. But they're going to go and turn 2 and 3 and develop and go through puberty and all that stuff with or without you. Like, what you teach them mentally, yes, they need that. But physically, they're going to grow. Your business cannot stay the same. If you don't feed your business, it's not going anywhere. It's not going to automatically keep growing without your attention. As long as you feed your child, enough to survive, it's going to keep growing. it will physically keep growing. If you don't give that to you could give your child McDonald's every day. Now, your kid might grow up with a whole lot of overweight problems and stuff. Don't do that. But
clogged arteries,
and everything else.
Pressure.
But if you want to fast food your kid, you can fast food your kid, whatever fast food that happens to be. You can't fast food a business.
No, not at all.
Right.
It'll die.
Correct. So I got a question, Carl. So with your multiple of businesses, your multitude of businesses, out of all of them, which of them would you say is your favorite?
This one, Marshall Carl. So my passion, like I'm very passionate about it, and I really learned that during this camp. Because this was every day, 4 hours a day, with these students that, and again, I don't even like teaching, but I was loving waking up and talking to them from 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock. It was great. I didn't get the same enjoyment with my hacking classes. Unfortunately, sorry to any of my premium clients out there. I don't get the same enjoyment for y'all. Y'all just be happy because y'all make a lot of money. So, man. Right. So just because I don't like y'all as much for me, y'all getting anything less. But yeah, I love this part of it. Like for instance, I was even thinking about, I was listening to y'all podcast on my joint, and I was like, hey, they should do this, do that, do that. Like that's how I operate. Like I walk into a store and my mind goes there. My mind goes to, all right, yeah, I want to do this, that, and the other with this business. Like I did it the other day. I happened to walk into a store in Laurel, and it happened to be owned by somebody that I knew. And I was like, hey, you should try this, try that. I started moving stuff around, and it's a women's boutique. Like I know nothing about women's clothing, but I do know something about flow, sales, scale, and all that type of stuff. And like while we was in there, the stuff I did got her sales on the spot. Like I love that stuff. Like it's amazing. And I got to meet with her tomorrow because she's about to become one of my premium clients. It's $6,000 a month. So like that's how it works. With that, and there's nothing better to me than helping somebody else make money. Nothing. Of course I want to make money myself, but doing it for other people is like, oh.
What do you think separates that though? Like your passion for working with the youth, because you've been mentioning them a lot, them kids, versus adult premium clients. Because I don't feel like most kids is paying your salary, your high premium salaries.
Right. Yeah. They only paid $1,000 for the camp. But I think, given the fact I don't have any children, that's part of it. And I have number one, a heart for my community and a heart for the next generation. I turned 40 on February 3rd of this year, and 40 was just another day. But the next day I woke up and something just clicked inside of me about the next generation and what I wanted to do for them. And it was like, man, I really want to leave a legacy one way or the other, and I think the results that I get from the young people, and they're appreciative, they have less of a sense of entitlement. They actually want to do something, and me seeing that the future can be in good hands. And I'll just be real with you. Part of it has to do with loss that I've had recently. I think it's happened so much, but just over the past month, I lost two young people in my life, my niece and my goddaughter, 16 and 19. And, there was a break that happened in me, and it really turned something up, and it was right at the beginning of these classes. And I was like, yeah, let me, it really made me really push into it. And so to see that I'm affecting change, in this and something where I can't do it in the lives of those who passed, whom I love. I love my niece, not my goddaughter. And so, it kind of turned something on in me. And it's like, okay, I am going to be able to do something to leave a legacy, even if I never have children.
Right. Our legacy is always important. And speaking as someone who, I'm going to be honest, you probably should have been a teacher. I've been told I should have been a teacher since I was little. I don't want to deal with other people. It ain't even the kids. I don't want to deal with their parents. That I'm gonna be honest, it's other people's parents. It ain't even the kids a lot of times. It's the parents, because I work with kids. I work with kids. Before I had my kid, I worked with kids, and I loved every bit of them little ghetto creative pieces of joy. Even the ones that made me go, oh, you want to touch my gangster? Okay, bet. But let anybody come for my babies, especially, oh, I was ready. They knew, Miss Michelle, she might get on me, but she got my back if something go on. So speaking as somebody who truly believes in teaching the next generation, mentorship, I've always been a big person on mentorship. Because I like having a mentor. I like having that elder person say, hey, no, this is how you do this. This is the way to go. No, if you want to do that, try it. You know what I'm saying? Like, having that encouragement from that wise counsel. So now with us being older, to be that wise counsel to the next generation is a great passion to have. Even though it truly it takes work, it takes drive, it takes tenacity to do such things. So when hearing that lost from your part, lost in your life triggered that extra it's like, okay, that's great. You transfer that energy into something positive that could, push someone else forward. What are some techniques with you working with these children? What are some techniques when you see them really, really like they're trying, they're really putting in the effort, they're really working, and you really notice that they're getting hung up? What is something a technique that you apply that'll help them kind of work around that issue?
I make them lead the class. Works every time.
Okay.
It's time for you to lead. So basically I say, okay, so I have them ask the questions to their, because I have, I created a textbook, workbook, and all that good stuff for them to go through. And I say, okay, we're going through this part, and they all go by, they're young entrepreneur, that's their names in the class. So I'm like, young entrepreneur pretzel, I'm not saying real names. Hey, it's your turn to lead the class. We're going through this part. So what I want you to do is you take everybody through the steps that are outlined here. And, you make sure they discuss, if anybody wants to jump in, they'll ask you if they can help and jump in. And by the time they get through that entire process, they're actually able to do it themselves. Because, one of the things that I learned is you remember 50% of what you hear, 70% of what you do, 90% of what you teach. And so okay, so if I can get them to start teaching it, while they're learning, and of course I'm there and I give input, but I'm like, okay, it's your turn to lead this. Then, and every time what's happened is they've actually caught it. They've grasped it, a whole lot more and faster than if I was just to try to, drill in them or even walk them through it. Now there's some stuff, it's like, okay, none of y'all are getting this. So that means that I need to do something better. So let me walk you through it and give you these type of formulas. Because if I see nobody's getting it, then that means there's something wrong with the teaching. But if I see that, one person is off, it's like, okay, so you lead and everybody will teach you while you're teaching them.
Mm-hmm. So that's a good point though, because that's just true. I've always said to people, if you can teach it, then you know it.
Right.
That's just what it is. Yep. So to that point though, if you see them challenged, you say what you do if they're struggling. So in starting your 4 businesses, would have been some of your challenges that you've had to get yourself to lead yourself, sir, to the finish line and get
flipping
the hair.
So, man, look. So my first business was easy. Photography, that was easy. Okay, building my photography business is what I started my 4 days to launch program based on, because that was relatively easy. I was operating in the friend zone, making money there, and it grew organically. When it came to my cybersecurity business, that was a little bit harder, because I had to know that, number one, the market was beginning to get saturated. It was more corporate clients. I present myself a certain way that ain't what everybody want. What I'm saying? As you see, I'm a Black man with a beard and locks. Good thing my name's Carl Gray. So that kind of can give me some doors that won't people understand.
I understand.
As
someone who has a fully Caucasian name.
Exactly.
I have a name people can't figure out. So I think they just want to meet me to figure out what a Siobhan even looks like. Exactly. They just think it's pretty. That's like, oh, that's so pretty.
And then when they hear your last name, they go, oh, okay.
Well, not necessarily, because I've known him. Andrew Jackson was the president. He's white as can be.
That's why they say, oh.
Yeah, okay, I think that also leads, and then if people meet my mama, I think that also leads to the belief that I'm mixed or something weird and stuff, because people just are confused by who I am. But anyway.
It's benefits in having the fully Caucasian name.
Right. But yeah, so one of the biggest challenges that I had was recognizing that everybody doesn't love what I do as much as I do, and they don't believe in what I do as much as I do. So that's how I created some of the ways, as far as my pitching, as far as marketing and things of that nature, like I said, it was a struggle. Like for a minute, it was an expensive hobby, you know, where it was just like I was doing and learning and all of this, but I wasn't making the money, which is why I had to go back to my launch program and like, okay, let me go ahead and do this, and start getting the big contracts that I wanted. But it was really educating my demographic that they needed me. First of all, they needed my services and they needed me to do it. Like you have to teach people that what they want is possible. That's the first thing. And that they need you to do it. Like that's with that's every business. It's like, hey, yes, you can get full, but you need to come to this restaurant to get the food that you really want to get it.
Right. No, I no, look, if no one else understands that, we do. Okay.
We definitely understand.
We definitely understand that because we
hobby.
are not in the most common of areas for African American women doing a podcast.
We're in a very niche setting, so
Yes,
we most definitely understand. Not only just being Black, African American, whatever, Black American.
Talking about wine.
Just wine as itself is a niche type of thing anyway.
It is.
Like when you take it up against entertainment, all of that stuff that people want to talk about, celebrities or sports, all of this stuff. And even the podcast world as it is extremely saturated and became so during COVID because people had nothing else to do. So you can get a mic. You can get a little camera.
$30 on Amazon.
You can upload, even if you don't want to do that. I mean, the mics are built into your laptop computer. If you really just...
And if we ain't learned nothing else, social media has definitely showed us. People listen.
You just go live real quick. So we definitely understand the, and the challenges of expensive hobbies.
Period.
Wines ain't cheap and they are not.
These wines ain't cheap. And we ain't even got a lot of expensive ones. We done stuck in the reasonable lane.
No, I mean, and I think what it is everybody has their niche, and it's finding your niche, and oftentimes it's hidden in other people's stuff. One of the things that that we teach is strategic partnerships, and that's the fastest way to grow. Is to find out who is doing something that your target market wants. One of the things that people rarely do well in is find out who they should be marketing to. They're horrible with developing their avatars because they think that they are their avatar. Like in my book, The 7-Day Business Plan, one of the things that I put out there is in big bold letters, you are not your avatar. You are not your target market. Get over the pride of ownership. Listen to the customer. Find out who that customer is. That avatar, turn it into a person. You literally should be marketing to one person, not one individual that but you create this person. I give them a name, their name, their age, their, how many children do they have, what is their schooling, how much money they got. And if you hyper target to that person, then what will happen is there are pieces of that avatar that other people can relate to, and they'll pick up on those things and it'll draw many. But what they do is they either try to market to themselves because they really just, it's about their ego, or they try to market to everybody, and both of those get you nobody.
And how do you identify your audience? Like, how did you identify your audience for not necessarily the relaunch, but for like the cybersecurity, or just any of them, I guess. But that was one, since that was the most challenging.
Or even
I figured I would ask that one.
Part.
So funny story, the consulting and the cybersecurity audiences are very similar, and that shocked me a lot. I initially developed my avatar based on what I knew and what I thought and even research. So what you do is you think about who you think it will work for. You put those things down. Then you look it up. There are different tools that you use in Google. There are different tools in Bing, a whole bunch of research. The good thing is my cybersecurity background allows me to do a lot of forensics, so I can get really, really deep into stuff. And so I built it around that. But what I didn't take into consideration is me. And that's the hardest thing to take into consideration. So as a part of our launch plan, what we do is we say, put this out there and be listening to what's coming in. I initially thought with my cybersecurity classes, when I was teaching for Learn From a Hacker, I was like, this is going to attract young men ages like 16 to 25. They're going to really want this. And so that's why I base everything around. Like my logo is a black dude with locks with a mask on and a hoodie. Like that's how serious I was about who I thought that this avatar was. Then when I started giving my webinars, it was like, like this is it right here. Like it was like, nah, your avatar is actually middle age. By middle age, I mean like between the ages of like 35 and 50. Black women who are mothers in careers who want to switch. I'm like, what? And it's because of how I present. It's what it was that part. It's like when I sit there and I'm having these discussions, giving these webinars, talking on these subjects, that's who it attracts. Not only that, but they're the ones who want to change, and they're like, look, I need to do something better because I'm tired of doing this job. I've been doing it because my kids need this, that, and the other. They're growing up now. I want something for me that I'll enjoy.
College and yeah.
Right. And so the biggest part of getting that target market, first of all, do the research yourself. And once you do the research yourself, be willing to pivot and say, okay, let me back up. But the best way to do it is go to market first. Go to market with what you have, fail forward. You make sure that you capture any type of data, whether it be the logistics from Facebook and Instagram, make sure you have your targeting on, your pixels and all that type of stuff so that you know who's coming to see what you have, and then say, okay, so if this is who it's working for, this is who's staying longest on my page, watching my videos the longest, clicking the links, opening the emails, then that is my avatar. I mean, a lot of times we want to determine who's going to buy our stuff. We cannot. The market determines that.
That's been crazy for us because I've been the one looking at our analytics. I haven't done it in a while. I've been busy. Okay, y'all. This is an expensive hobby. It's not a business. But one of the things that did shock me hearing you say that was when we started this, it was like, this is going to be, we were our avatars. We were our avatars in that it was dedicated toward women like us because we didn't see ourselves represented, right? I think that's a lot of people start that, especially in what we're doing. We're not offering a service in that we're not handing you, I mean, I guess we hand you some information if you kind of want to listen, but we're not giving you like a class, you know what I mean? Like it's not like I need to balance my checkbook. We're going to tell you how. We're going to come to your house and show you how to. We're going to show you how to switch to careers. We're going to give you whatever. We're going to help you build your business. That's not. We're going to get some wine. We're going to wine. We're going to have a good time.
We're going to complain. That's what's going to happen.
That's what we're going to do, ladies. Come on, ladies. Let's sit and talk about this foolishness, ladies, right? But when I first, one of the things that killed me was when I actually looked at our demographics by gender, they were actually leaning toward men.
Facts.
There actually was like, it was like
the other way.
55 to 60% men. And I was just like,
how? We're not shaking boobies. We're not doing anything sexual. There's
nothing sexual happening here, guys. I mean, ain't no shimmies, ain't no shakes, ain't no twerk. We are sitting down, drinking wine.
Can I do a quick analysis on your content and tell you why?
Sure.
Go. I mean, you watched it.
I'm here for it. I'm listening.
Teach me, oh sensei.
So I'll say. So one of the things is like the reason that you all, I believe, you skew men is number one. You talk about things the way that you all present. You talk about stuff that we actually care about to the extent that it's like we got something to say. Like I find myself arguing with you all. Like I argue with your with your content. I really do.
I mean, we argue with each other. So doing
and that's the other part. Y'all aren't yes women to the feminist movement. Just keep it a buck. And men like that attracts us. It's like, okay, it becomes a safe, it's like, okay, good. Guess what? I found some women that I can actually, have a conversation with, even if I never have a conversation with them. Most of the time, a lot of these joints like, hey, we just turning that off because like, hey, it's the same old thing. We know, we're trash, we need to do this, we need to do that, blah, this, blah, that. Unfortunately, a lot of times that's what women are listening for. They're listening for that agreement with the narrative. And men are craving a counter to the narrative. The other thing is your content is better visual than audio, right? I was listening the other day and I found myself, I was driving and I was listening to the one where you talked about the romance and the birthday joint, right? Where you let him drive Shadow. And I found myself driving and I kept looking at my phone doing parts of it. And I'm like, Carl, pay attention. It's all audio. It's all audio. It was like, and then it's like, okay, there's something about them that is visual, even when I couldn't see it. I was like, I kept looking like, no, I need to see what's happening here. So,
I mean, we tell them to come on to YouTube because we got these facial expressions. Half the time we move in hands. We are extra and animated.
We are very animated. We're dancers.
Yeah,
we express through our bodies.
Right. And especially when y'all are talking a relationship and y'all are in person, it's like, no, you need to watch this. And remember, men are
visual.
Visual. So it's going to attract us. So I mean, that's just two of the things that I know, and just the fact that you all are two, by socially acceptable standards, attractive women, right? You're easy in the eyes to look at, and so that works for guys. But yeah, all of that to say, like from my analysis, it makes sense that you skew men, and I can more than likely as you grow, you'll balance out a little bit, but what it'll be is you'll start to get women, but it'll be like women who bring their men on to watch it as well. Like it's like they'll watch it together because you can pause and have an argument about it. You can pause and have a debate. I mean, like
maybe that's how we need to push ourselves. Ladies, are you in a relationship? Fellas, are you in a relationship? Come to the couch with us. We gonna go off.
Grab your glasses of wine and let's argue.
And then when we all, y'all have at it. Y'all have a good time.
Let's start some shit.
And hopefully it ends in some makeup something, some breakup something. Or whatever. I mean, you can be your aphrodisiac if that's what you need, baby. We just need you to come, like, share, and subscribe. That's what we need you.
I mean, so I'll say this. So like on day one of my 7-day business plan, we talk about naming a business because not everybody has a name. And these are some of the questions that you ask yourself, like you do an assessment. You say, is the name making a good impression and you do a survey. Is it making a good impression? Does it look and sound good? Is it easy to say or read? Is it memorable? Does it sound relatable? Is it possible to register trademarks? Does the URL exist? Can it be used globally? And does it speak to your brand's identity? Like those are just some questions that you want to ask yourself. We got the whole worksheet and all that kind of stuff where you rank it. Because a lot of times people miss out on that. And they miss out on a lot of things when it comes to it. When it comes to branding, especially starting off, because again, we have an idea that resonates so much with us that everything about it makes sense. Mm-hmm. And we forget about, who are we trying to reach? Who are we going to? And I ran into that problem in the very beginning as well. It's like, okay, I wasn't thinking about who I was trying to reach. I was thinking about the fact that I know this is good and this will work. And it was like, I just kept calling myself Prototype Consulting Group, Prototype Consulting Group, Prototype Consulting. Nobody knew what the heck Prototype Consulting Group was. So then it was like, okay, so learn from a hacker. I'll teach you how to become a hacker now. It was like, so still Prototype Consulting Group, Prototype Consulting Group helping businesses. But what am I helping to do? Launch businesses. Launch with Carl. Let's just get real simple about it. You know what I'm saying? What happens on your podcast?
Yeah, I think that's another part of the reason that we realize, like you said, though, but to your point, I think a lot of it is just evolution, right? Because that's the other thing about any business, really. But that's the point about it as well, is even the name that you might have at the beginning may not be what you have a year or 2 years later, because you're going off the idea that you had. like you said, to your point about your own business, your own avatar of what you think the person is going to be. You think you're going to get these brothers in here who young and looking like you resonate, right? And you getting dudes that are like women that are older. That's like, what? How? My avatar is a dude with dreads and a like in a hoodie. Why are you here? But it's because of the content, not necessarily not the look or the logo of the branding per se. And I think people push that that's what it is, but it's not. It's the actual content of what you're getting.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And it's like I had to let go of it. Say, you know what? If this is what's working, this is what's working. You know, and it was a shock to me. I thought, and I really didn't even have to adjust anything to my delivery at any point. And I honestly thought, like, okay, well, maybe I come across a certain way in my videos, you know, like flirtation or whatever. And so I was like, oh, but I want to know if they would have success in the class. That also mattered to me. And the answer was yes. Like, this woman is a clothing designer, and then she started her own website hacking business on the side.
But the one thing we didn't really talk about that I do want to for a second, since we got a little time now, is starting a business by yourself versus starting it with someone else. The truth is, we started this together. So that gave us from the beginning a soundboard. And as you said, and as people can see, if you men or women, because apparently our fellow one is a bunch of guys, we don't always agree with each other, with society writ large, with popular opinion, with anything. So we're constantly challenging each other and ourselves for what can be better and what the business needs and what we need within this business. That's why I think it was so quick for us. Because when you asked the question, first I thought you were gonna say, like, in life, what do you want?
I thought it was gonna be like something like,
but he was like, not money. But then he said, what do you want for your business to grow? Oh, fun. Like that. I think it's right. That's simple for us because that's a conversation that we have had over the past, I won't even say year one. Quite frankly, year one was like, can we do this?
Can we do this?
Can we do this? When we finally were coming up on like, yo, this is our 1 year anniversary. Like, we did this for 30 something straight weeks of content. And that was in the middle of holidays, birthdays, vacations, and everything else. You know what I'm saying? Like you say, the sacrifice, we definitely did that, moving schedules, which is one of the good things about being your own boss, is you can do that. But having to work around kids' schedules, COVID, semi-COVID, kind of back, but not really, all of that type of stuff. We were like, yo, we got through year one, we could do this. Mm-hmm. Year two was about, which is why we might have to change part of it now. But while we were like, yo, year two, let's get our branding to look more professional. Let's get email addresses that are not just at Gmail, but are at, a little something toanabout.com. Let's get this moving to a more solid foundation, because it's not something that we're dropping after a year, because that was the other thing. A lot of, even when we started, and I'm definitely let Michelle go, but I'm passionate about this because it is our baby. Yeah. It was even at the very outset when we started, was the question when we did research on podcasts, because I'm a researcher. So was a lot of things said, if you can't come up with 50 topics, right, don't start a podcast. If you can't easily rattle off 50, because that's 50 episodes, don't. And when we sat down and it was like, what can we talk about?
Well, we can do this and we can break it down.
We can do this. What about this? And it got to the point where it was literally like, we could talk about anything and everything. And what links it is the fact that we're going to drink a new glass of wine every week. And it was why we started with so many theories. Like, we started with like 7 guys. Like, this 5 is the cut down. But the 5 even cut down because we have another friend who's also an entrepreneur who does podcasts and stuff, who told us at the end of last year, literally at the end of 2021, y'all have too many. People can't figure out who you are or your identity. And that's why we did instead of doing beauty suite, right? Like, that's just dedicated to physical women looks. That's morphed into Sis Let's Wine. Let's just talk all the women's stuff. We'll just talk about on second Wednesday. Wine with the Guys has been here from the beginning, y'all. It just got consistent every third Wednesday. For the culture was because we were going to do a church one, and we were going to do this one, all these different series. It was like, that's just Black people stuff. Let's just put all the Black people stuff. And Journey to Fitness stayed from the beginning, and the Wine Out stayed from the beginning, because we got to get rid of these wines every month. Okay. But that But even getting to that point, starting 2022 with just the 5 series, each Wednesday based to its own, was our first evolution. And coming into year 2, it was that. But like I said, I guess my point going back, because six come full circle, was
I don't have no more.
I ain't got no more either. That's why I did my hand and not the glass. We at least have had each other.
Right.
So that was my long-winded, and I'm gonna pass the mic to Michelle.
But before you move forward,
Her question was how you do it on your own.
right?
That was the question.
No, and I heard that. I actually heard that part.
I had a question.
It's one of the hardest things to do is a business on your own. Which I say people all the time, entrepreneurship is a lonely journey, but you don't have to do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
What people don't get is like the vision. The good thing is, y'all have birthed the vision together, but I even in looking at you all, it's the same vision, but y'all actually have 2 different visions that work together simultaneously, even in how you all operate with each other because of your strengths and your vision, you're seeing things. The good thing is that you have an agreement to the end game, but it's like you see this and you see this and they come together. Like that's what works. One of the things that I recommend, and that's one, and I'm actually getting ready to start one in mid-August, is what masterminds. Masterminds are groups of entrepreneurs who come together. They're going through some of the same struggles, and they kind of just grow it. And they're growing together. You have your own stuff, but it becomes sounding boards and all of that type of stuff because we get stuck sometimes, and it's like we get in a rut and we feel like we're alone and we want to quit, and it's like maybe I'll just go do a 9-to-5 again, but I know I'll be miserable there, so I'd rather just die on this hill, like all of that type of stuff. But yeah, you want to be in a community of people who are like-minded, who are on the same journey, who have some of the same struggles. Like I said, the good thing is y'all have each other and you both want to grow this thing, but most of us don't have it. And if we do have somebody there with us, they are tag-alongs. But the good thing is neither one of y'all have that. Like I have a friend of mine, I'm on his podcast often, and it's his baby. His sister is a part of it. And, they even had this conversation on the air about it. It was like, nah, this is my thing, because she kind of fell off in a sense because she had other responsibilities. Nothing wrong with that at all. And that's what happens with a lot of people, even with partners, like, hey, I got this idea, you want to do it with me. But what happened with y'all is we got this idea, let's grow it. You all are a complete anomaly. Like you are the exception to the rule. Most of the time, it is one person and it's their baby and they're birthing it. It's not even a mommy and a daddy. It's a mother and the cousin who drove them to the hospital because they just happen to be out at the same time.
I really thought this was going to be that. I'm not even gonna lie.
She did.
Because initially this was her idea. I just was telling her about a wine app.
She was like, hey,
I found this wine app.
I found this wine app. I was like, oh, we should do a podcast. And she was like, what? And then it's how my brain works. And I think that's what makes this work, where I can shoot out a random idea, like completely random, and my sister will listen to me. And then she'll go, okay, now let's pull it back. And let's think about this realistically. And because of how my brain works, that works for me.
Right. Because
but that's also maturity in me. I know that. So I go, okay.
So you're a visionary, she's a vision bearer. That's what it is. Like Michelle, you have these grandiose ideas, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're the dreamer, right? it's fine. It's okay. Be the dreamer. And Siobhan is the pragmatist in it. She's a lot like me. Like I still don't believe her birthday is when it is. I just so I'm gonna leave that alone. But which is why I can't believe in zodiacs because she exists. Let's just be real. But yeah. So all that to say, like, no. But yeah, so that being said, like what it is, and that's what everyone needs when it comes to the business. And that's where I come in as a consultant, because most people who get into businesses are visionaries. They have these really great ideas, but they don't have the knowledge or wherewithal to like make it work, which is fine not to know how to make it work. Because the thing is, I don't have the ideas. People all the time, look, I don't have good ideas. I make other people good ideas work. You know what I'm saying? Because of the training, the study, and just my heart to see people grow, that's what works in it. So I tell my people, I'm the cheapest COO you ever find. So the reason that you all work together so well is because Siobhan don't have ideas.
I have ideas.
I
Hear me out.
I have a lot of ideas.
Hear me out, Siobhan.
I mean, dang, you just
Okay. You don't have the dreams. You don't. She got the dreams, and you have the okay, this is what we need to do this. Let's bring it here.
You know what it is? I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is about me. I have the dreams. I don't have, and it goes back to what you were saying earlier about kids with fear. It's about what you said earlier about kids with fear. Yeah. I don't, because it's not that I don't have dreams. It's that it's easier for me if somebody comes to me and is like, if this is really what it is. If I were to, because I had thought about starting a podcast before. I really had. Because I work with people who have podcasts. So I had the idea, well, I could start a podcast, but I don't really know what my podcast would be about. Well, I could figure out sometimes I could talk about stuff. I could. But I have a fear of failure. And to me, it's easier for me if somebody can come to me and literally tell me I could write a dream down, put it in a bottle, and somebody find that bottle and bring it to me. This is my dream. And I'm like, you biter, because that's my handwriting. But I will make it happen because now I don't feel the pressure as much as failing. Michelle came to me and was like, yo, I have this, let's start a podcast. What are you talking about? Once I figured out she was committed to this, because that's the other thing.
That was the other part.
Is I'm not going to be the only one doing all the work that's on it. So you
but see, but that was the part for me where I'm a dreamer because of how I was raised. What I'm not going to do is let you do all of the work. I'm not going to just put it out there and then I do like absolutely nothing. Like I told Siobhan years ago, my perfect job would be for me to, like, when I have these things, would be like, oh, I thought about putting a team together. I can stay with the team for a while and then I can let them go, but they have to come back to me so that I can tweak, we can talk about it. I don't want to be completely X'd out of it. But that's my perfect job. She was like, that makes so much sense for you.
But that's what it was. It was, even when we started this, I was like, so you want to be the host? And then I'm just kind of there. Because I'm always, and I was like, and she was like, no, we're gonna co-host. And I was together. Well, if we co-host, then this is another reason, y'all, it took us till this year, 2022, to be on video. Because I was like, oh, I ain't being on video then. So this have to be audio. My thing is, it's not that I don't have ideas. It's just a matter of, and it's gonna sound real jacked up. If this failed, I could always say, well, this was Michelle's idea. I was just making it happen.
And I'm
okay with that, because everybody who knows me knows I will jump from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, which is why she had the apprehensions that she had. That's what I fully understand and accept that. And for me, for a partner in any way, shape, or form, they have to understand that. Right. That I can take, that shit just didn't work. Yep, I fucked that one up. Like I can take that versus, I have this great idea. I don't. That's more frustrated than me feeling. I tried that shit because I had a whole lash business, like full blown out lash business. Thought about all the branding. I
did the business cards for that.
She made my business cards. I had a whole thing for that. And I had the branding to the point where the name of it was so universal. I could take it from here to there, to there, to there, but it was all under the same name. It was called More Than Occasional. That could be taken anywhere. It could be More Than Occasional Lashes, More Than Occasional Events, More Than Occasional. Like I had so many things, but I was like, yeah, but whatever. And that was it. So that's why I know that's when she was like, no, when she called me, she was like, okay, well, I need you to do this. Oh, all right, you give me an assignment, I'll do it. I don't have a problem with that, especially if it's some, oh yeah, well, you gonna help me do this? Okay, cool. I can do that. That works like that. That works for me. That keeps me motivated. Also, because I'm team orientated, I'm not about to be the weakest link on the team.
And that's why this works, because I definitely am an assignment giver, because I can't do it all by myself. I can't.
So I'll say this. You actually help me understand myself better, because you're right. It's not that you don't have dreams. Because I say the same, I'll be like, yo, I don't have dreams. I do have dreams. I'm not dream driven.
Right.
It's like, I'm not dream driven.
No.
I will drive other people's dreams.
I'm results driven.
Right, exactly. Because I want to see results.
I want to see results.
And the thing is, like I gotta, like, even me, like, I'm a consultant, but I have consultants because I know I can't do it on my own. Like, they take my dreams and make them happen, while I help other people take theirs and make them happen. Like, somebody like your sister can be really frustrating because yeah, they can't, because it's like you trying to keep them on task.
I'm sorry.
Letting them know that, and I deal with, and a lot of my clients I deal with are these people who they have an idea can pop in their head while they're walking down the street.
Yes.
And they think that that's the road they're supposed to take. And it's like, no, can we please stay focused on the road that we're going? Because we actually have mapped this whole thing out. And I'm not saying that we can't do that, but put that on pause so that we can get the result that we started off with. And like, and that's what, and
that's the type of person who will tell you, for those who live around the DMV, this gonna make sense. Yo, I need to get from DC to Baltimore. All right, cool. So here's Michelle. I'm like this. We just gonna go straight up 95. Here's Michelle. Well, yeah, but first, can we stop at Largo? And then I need to go to Laurel. And then I need to actually go to Waldorf real quick. Then we need to go up to Columbia. Oh, by the way, then I gotta go down to Clinton. So we're not getting to Baltimore today, is what you're saying. Like,
yes, and I deal with a number of these clients, and I remind them that they pay me for a specific result, and I let them know they don't get their money back at the end of this time period if they don't get this result. So you can use me for this, you can use that. I said I will go in whatever direction you come with, but at the end of the day, we're done. I have nothing else for you. You gotta pay again. And like, there was one person, we were going, we had these things, we were doing it. She got frustrated, like, I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z. I said, but you want to finish it, but I want to do X, Y, and Z. I said, okay, let's do this. We started going in that direction, and then we were doing it, and she said, remember when we first started, we said we was going to do this, and this hasn't happened yet. I said, that's because in this week, and I'll show you the recording of the session, you said you wanted to go down this path. And I said, management consultants do not make management decisions. I'm your COO, you're the CEO. If you tell me when to go in this direction, I'm going to get you in that direction. But I told you at the end of the day.
And that's what, but the difference being that she could be like, oh, let's go this direction. Cool. You know what? Let's be right here. I'm gonna be like, no, we gonna go here first. We gonna finish down this aisle before we turn.
Okay. And I'll write it down. That's the difference. And that's because
that's what I encourage. I say, put it in the parking lot.
Write it down.
Write it down. I say, put that car in the parking lot. Put that car in the parking lot. Put that car in the parking lot. We'll drive it later. I have some people who can't. They're like, but I gotta get it. I said, okay. You'll never. I
called Siobhan out the blue and was like, Siobhan, I want to make gift boxes. She was like, bitch, what? because the thing about it is, the best thing about it is you all are partners, so you can't go without her. Me, I say, I be like, look, and it frustrates me because I'm very results driven. Like, I'm not even money. I love making money. I don't love money. I love making money. But one of the things that frustrates me to no end is when somebody hires me for something, or I'm on a project and we don't get to finish. And you don't get to say. Now, see, but that's the other part. Although I'm not fully results driven, if we have a goal,
I was just about to.
I am one to go, okay, look, now we did, like, when we didn't hit 100 subscribers, I was like, okay, but how do we like really do this? But then when we looked up, we had to realize the niche that we're in, but we also had to realize, but we have grown.
We have grown.
So like even right now we're at 50. So we're like, so I was like, stop.
And they're organic.
And they are organic. So it's that.
So here's the thing though. Here's the thing. And I'm about to go into consultant mode, right? With this. It's going to be very hard to organically grow a podcast. Mm-hmm. And here's why. There is no medium out there that wants you to organically grow. Facebook doesn't want it. You get 3%, I think it's 3% of your followers see what you post there. Instagram is at 10% max that see your stuff, because they're very ad driven. TikTok the same way. The only one that gives you any type of leeway on that is fan base. But they're so small, it's hard to even get on there to be able to grow. And so it's going to take very targeted marketing strategies. Like, yes, you're going to have to, start spending money on Facebook ads. You're going to have to actually start doing face-to-face stuff. You have to, start finding strategic partnerships with people to make sure that, if they're coming on your podcast or you're going on theirs, that there's mutual stuff going on there. You have to go live on multiple platforms, like use something like StreamYard, and even if you put your recordings on there, you put it out there. You probably want to get somebody who does the hashtag research for you, because the organic growth, it's the reason that it's so hard is because the platforms want it to be hard. Because if you could do it on your own, you really wouldn't need to pay them for it. Go look at I was listening to a podcast the other day and they were talking about Beyonce's following, right? Beyonce has like over 300 million followers on Instagram. The largest amount of views any of her videos have is 3 million.
Right.
That's 1%. Mm-hmm. That's a 1% viewer rate. So if that's her, and she has one of the most quote unquote organic followings on the planet, like how much more, how worse is it for us? Like, have you ever noticed how people like, I ain't seen you in a while. Are you even on social media anymore?
Right.
Like, yeah, I'm on there every day. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're not oblivious to that. What makes us able to work together is we are both goal driven. While she may be the dreamer and she is dream driven, because my dream has to come. I want to make my dream come. She's willing to put in the work to get to the goal, to make that happen. And while I'm more like, yo, I'm results. So I got to set a goal to get the results done. I think that's the middle ground for the dreamers and the vision makers, if you will, for the makers and the dreamers is the goal. Because if neither side is willing to get to the goal, then neither one, it can't happen.
Then it's not gonna happen. But also I feel like as for the dreamer per se, is also being able to humble yourself, to go, wait, I do have to pull back. This is a dream, but so the realization of dreams don't just happen overnight. Like that's not realistically, that's not how that happens. That might happen once in the blue moon to the random whatever. And then that's still not all the way true. But to understand, okay, there's some you got to humble yourself, humility in that, like come back. What's the work? I think your work ethic, a dreamer still has to have good work ethic. Right. What is your work ethic to that? And for me, even at work, like that's my biggest thing. You can challenge me on anything except for two things: my character and my work ethic. That's it.
And being able to take direction.
Yes. And for me, I'm good with to give me the direction. Give me what is it? And it's plenty of times like, what is it that you need me to do? Tell me what you need me to do, and I can get it done. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll do my own creative spin on it, of course, but tell me what it is you need me to do. Give me the deadline. I will make sure it's done.
So before we wrap, Carl, is there anything that you want to say to the people, the last, about this whole entrepreneurship thing?
Yes. So I got a number of things out there right now. Got a whole bunch.
I heard books. I heard workbooks, textbooks,
and we will put all those links.
So mid-August, I'm launching businessmovermastermind.com. It's a 15-week process with a 12-week year and then 3-week hot seats. where what we do is goal oriented. Number one, where we help you through the 12-week year accomplishing your goals, but not just that. The sessions are broken up. First is going to be accountability. The second, you're going to learn something about launching, growing, and scaling your business. So it's like two masterminds in one, because most of the time your consultants, they'll give you one or the other. They'll either be there to help you to get your goals, or they'll teach you the things that they know to move you towards there. So we're actually going to do 2-in-1 on that. Also, 4 days to launch our 4-day business plan. We're actually putting that on autopilot now, so people can actually go in and do it on their own time. We reduce the cost for that. Also, what's going on is if you ever want to do a discovery call with me where you really want to launch a business, become one of my premium clients. Not all of my prices are $6,000 a month. But yes, you can go to discovery.launchwithcarl.com. We also have a community on Facebook of entrepreneurs who are growing their businesses. And, it's really about networking and knowing. If you go to Launch with Carl Business Growth Community, that's what we do. Just look up Launch with Carl everywhere. That's just us. We are here to help. We will be doing some things with the school system coming up, where we're helping, because I really do want to make sure the next generation has entrepreneurs moving forward. And, hey, find me out there at Launch with Carl. Hit me in the DMs are open. My assistant will probably reply. It is.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, where you've heard it from one of the best in the business in the DMV area, our wonderful friend, our consultant that we didn't know was going to be our consultant.
Well, that we didn't know we needed, y'all. We
didn't know we needed it, but you know what I'm saying? We're here for it.
I will open my arms and receive it.
So be sure you click those links below in the description box. Ladies and gentlemen, do not miss out on this information. Generational wealth is a thing. If you have a child who may be simply making bracelets right now, or maybe thinking about making this is information that you can educate yourself to educate them, or get educated together. So just a lot of information that it's out there, ladies and gentlemen, and it's within your reach. So don't be afraid to reach out and grasp it and take it and run with it. And then let everybody know that you heard it right here from A Little Something, the number 2. Wine About with your hostesses, Ty Michelle and
Miss Siobhan Camille. Are you not going to tell us about your wine? You're not going to rate it?
Oh, yeah. This was great. So before we wrap this up, my bad. This shoe, I gotta put the cork top on it. This shoe crazy mango delight cave. I see why. Cave.
Is it a cave or cuvee? What is it?
C-U-V-E.
Cuvee.
That's what I thought I said.
You said cave, something with an A.
Somebody's vague. Cuvee.
You do know where she's from, right? It's the same word. It's the same word. Y'all said the same word. Just she from the hood.
Okay, I'm gonna look at it. Okay, I got it. Wow. My rating for this is going to be a 4. I like this. I like the peachy mango-y taste. I think they said this might supposed to be like this rosé type. It doesn't taste like a rosé. It does the fruitiness, the fruit flavors does not make it taste like your traditional rosé. It does have bubbles, but they aren't overwhelming. Like this is cool. I understand why this was extremely hard to find. So I'm going to give this a 4 overall. Good job, ladies, there at Shoe Crazy Wines. I'm going to get another one. I'm just going to make this a Shoe Crazy August. That's what this is going to be.
It is a Shoe Crazy August.
It is a Shoe Crazy August. I mean, it's August. Why not show off your shoes? But duh. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Be sure to join us each and every Wednesday for more laughs, more fun, and of course, more wine. And as always,
there's nothing wrong with a little wine. Or a lot.
Bye.
thank you for whining with us on this episode of A Little Something to Whine About. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to join us live the last Saturday of every month on YouTube or Instagram. And we'll see you next Wednesday for more fun, more laughs, and of course, more wine.